Hello, everybody. This is Founder Leroon. I'm here with Fantasy Grounds College, and we're here with Pinnacle Entertainment, and we're also here with the community and the contracted developers for Pinnacle Entertainment products such as Savage Worlds and such. We are broadcasting live from our Discord channel. We have moderation, and we also are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. So welcome, everybody, and I would like to introduce our host and the scheduler and the guy that put this all together, G-Rex, or Greg, as we know him. So go ahead, Greg.
Hi, welcome, everybody. I'll be moderating today's 2-hour symposium with Savage Worlds PG and Fantasy Grounds development team. I'm going to go ahead in our Discord server. We're going to post the rules for today's symposium before we get to the introductions. So all mics are going to be muted for our guests. You guys are going to be open, so Jodi, Amy, and Ikael, and then Savage Doswalk, if he shows up, you guys will remain open. We ask that the questions be typed in the symposium text, either here on Discord or on Twitch or on YouTube, and we'll try to stay on top of them. We have Flo is going to be watching that and updating me as we go. At the very end of the moderated questions, we're going to open up to an open Q&A. So at that point, then we'll open up mics and let everybody ask what they have on their minds. At 10 minutes remaining, I'm going to do a hard cutoff just to keep us on track for our 2-hour window. And we're going to be doing some giveaways. We have some stuff from both Fantasy Grounds and Pinnacle Entertainment Group. With that being said, I think we're going to get this rolling. I'm going to start off. I'm going to introduce our guests. So with us is Jodi Black, COO and Managing Editor at Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Jodi, would you like to say hi to the audience?
Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Next up is Dr. Amy Marshall. Amy is the VTT Conversion Project Manager. Go ahead, Amy.
Hi, thanks for everyone for putting this together and having us on. It'll be interesting to see what folks have to say.
Hello, how are you?
All right, and Fantasy Grounds community developer, Ikael or Ikael, and would you like to go ahead and say hi?
Of course. Hello, everybody, and hopefully you have had a nice time and will have forever.
Awesome. And if Kevin or Savage Doswalk, as the community knows him, shows up, you'll be coming in and fielding some questions as well.
Thank you for joining us.
We're going to start our alternating questions. We're going to start with Amy and Jodi. Kevin, or if you guys want to take these as a team or give your own answers.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Okay with us. But to start, let's just you want to tell our audience about Pinnacle Entertainment Group in general.
I'll take that. So Pinnacle Entertainment Group has been around for 20-some years now.
Kevin, or if you guys want to take these as a team,
started way back. Probably the most popular product that you've heard of is Deadlands Classic, popular role-playing game. I started playing it in 1996, which is the same year that I met my husband. And got married to him, so I've been gaming that long. That's how long I've been gaming. I wasn't working with Pinnacle at that time, but I was a fan. So, you know, that dream of you play your favorite game and then you get to work for the company, that came true for me. And it can happen to you too. Just, you know, just to be a fan and, you know, don't be a dick, I guess. But our fans aren't. So, you know, we don't have to worry about that quite so much. But anyway, so we went on from there. Lots of variations of Deadlands. There's been some other things like Great Rail Wars for Deadlands, which are the showdown rules, which also led to Savage Worlds. So you've probably heard of this little game called Savage Worlds. It's been out now for 15 years. We just recently updated the core rules with a version that is called Swayed, that to everybody that plays it, which stands for Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. And if it's been swaydified, then that's the most current version of the rules. But if you are playing with an older version of our rules, you're not having to change a heck of a lot. So we've got rules for everything under the sun with Suede. Savage Worlds is a generic rule set, and you can play, anything you can imagine. So you're going to play Flash Gordon, you're going to play Pathfinder, you're going to play, and we have the licenses for both of those. You're going to play space, you're going to play fantasy, you're going to play pulp, you're going to play superpowers. My husband wrote Necessary Evil, which is our twist on the superpowered setting where the villains saved the Earth from an alien. Well, okay, so the aliens invaded and they killed off all the superheroes. Now it's up to the supervillains to save the world, and you get to do that in the plot point campaign. Well, kind of. Anyways, if you don't fall apart and just kill each other because you're supervillains. Yeah, you get to play anything you can imagine with Savage Worlds, and you can do it all with just the core rulebook, or you can buy one of our setting books and play one of our plot point campaigns. Takes you through a fully scripted adventure there, and gives you plenty of leeway for your own adventures. And I mean, I've just been a big fan for a long time. But I started out as an editor, and then because I was a grammar Nazi first and foremost, and then that attention for detail kind of made me get passed up the ranks. So now I'm handling anything that's detail oriented. So if it has to do with production and shipping and just kind of keeping tabs on everybody and what their projects are, that's how I get to be COO and managing editor. So, but what I don't understand a heck of a lot of is the VTT tabletop and just how it all works. So that's why we have Dr. Amy Marshall to handle all of that. And when she explains it to me, I go, oh, but I'm so glad that we have Amy to handle that because I didn't want to learn one more thing.
He does enough.
That's right. That's enough.
No one complains that Jodi does not do enough or know enough. I can talk a little bit about how I got involved, if you like. Yeah, I'm one of the newest folks at Pinnacle Entertainment Group, and I kind of came in sideways via the art direction side. So Aaron Acevedo of Sigil Entertainment Group has been helping to coordinate the art for Pinnacle Entertainment Group, and especially with Suede and all of the newer Kickstarters and whatnot. And so I came on, had been friends with Aaron for a while, and he needed more help managing as the new projects expanded and whatnot. So, excuse me. I actually started on the art studio side, and then in the same way that Jodi ingratiated herself up the chain, I suppose I'm guilty of the same thing. And so Smiteworks has been doing such a wonderful job of converting Pinnacle's materials for Fantasy Grounds that that side was covered, but it was obvious that other platforms did not have the same kind of coverage, and so that's where I come in and take care of those aspects.
Great, thank you both. The next question is going to be for our Fantasy Grounds community developer. So, is it Ikael or Ikael? Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your tabletop gaming history, and then how you got into Fantasy Grounds and ended up being a Savage Worlds community developer.
Savvy. So, I think my tabletop or gaming history began like when I was a 5th grader or 4th grader, I don't recall. But it was one of those summer days, our cousins were gathering together, and one of my cousins brought this game of paper, dice, and pens, and it's like, what is this? And he basically was game mastering us the whole summer, and I was totally attached and getting in love with the whole idea of, oh, there's this thing of theater in minds and rolling dice and working together, and it just blew my mind. So from that day on, I kind of get into the hobby, and I have been very keen gamer ever since. And basically, things were easier when you were close to your friends and you were playing most of the times just with the local ones. But when time came that I was joining like the military service, and then I will be moved to a new city or town to do my university studies, I kind of knew that, I cannot be carrying on this hobby anymore the way it goes. So went and searched for alternatives, and that's where the virtual tabletops came in. So I found out there are several solutions. During that time, it was, I think it's 2005, when I purchased Fantasy Grounds. There were other options, but during that time, the Fantasy Grounds was still owned by a Finnish company. So I'm from Finland. My fellow citizens produced this nice alternative, which was available in my local gaming stores. I thought, yeah, let's try this out, and from that day on, I became Fantasy Grounds user. I have been ever since. Fellow citizens, people might know that the Fantasy Grounds now owned by Doug Davison and somebody else more, and it's shifted to USA, but everything's cool. I'm still proud of what the product is all about. That kind of covers the introduction on my tabletop and VTT basics.
Awesome, thank you. In our Twitch stream, I asked if anybody's got any questions to follow up to ask them. We're taking viewer questions out of Twitch. We're also taking viewer questions here in Discord. So keep them coming. We already got one. I see Lord Mag. We'll go ahead and ask. We have some product questions coming up, so we're going to write that one down, and we'll ask it when we're on the topic. I think we're going to flip back to Jodi and Amy. So you guys kind of touched on this a little bit, especially Jodi, talking about your background. But tell us a little bit about your gaming history, both as a player and developer, etc.
So as a player, I kind of have a fun story there. My sorority sisters got me involved in gaming. So as a kid, I watched like the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, and I was like, that looks cool. It never clued on to me that was a product you could buy and play and make up your own stories. I don't know why. Yes, I'm a natural blonde. Anyways. So my friends were playing it too. They just never invited me. So wah, wah, wah. But I go to college, and my sorority sisters said, hey, I hear you tried D&D, because I did. I tried once with some friends of mine in the Lutheran student movement that I was a member of. And they said, so you need to play a real game. And they invited me to their GURPS game, generic universal role-playing system. Yeah, way crunchier. And I was like, wow, this is the best thing ever. So I started gaming with them regularly, and I was already a member of Zeta Tau Alpha. So I'm like, this is just better, And so that's how I really got my start gaming, was with my sorority sisters, specifically my grand big sis. And then she also set me up with my husband, and I just have never been able to pay her back ever again, because now it's my career and my life, and I've been married for 25 years. So, I can't say anything bad about any of that experience. It's been wonderful. As a developer, it's been an interesting ride, because I think probably the key part to all of it is everybody has their opinions, right? So you'll read a product and you'll be like, well, that's just crap. Well, you have to isolate, like, what about it are you unhappy with? And then you have to phrase that feedback in such a way that it's not going to hurt anybody's feelings, or, that you can't, so that they can accept the criticism properly. There's a lot of social manipulation, not manipulation, but that's the wrong word, social back and forth that's involved in talking with people to be able to get your point across. And sometimes your point's not valid. You have to accept that too. So there can't be any ego in game design. And that's the biggest thing that I can offer up to anybody who's considering being a part of it, is you have to, figure out, like, distill down what are the best parts of this, and make that, put that into the final product. So from the game design perspective, that, was a learning curve, certainly. And it helped that I was already kind of used to working as part of a team, because this was already a group that I was working with side by side on, like, fundraising projects and that kind of stuff around campus. And then now we're gaming together. You're working as a team there. for a common goal as a group of a team. So gaming's already working together. So you're already kind of used to doing that. It's a different thing entirely, though, if you write something and you submit it and then you're trying to get feedback on that. You will put a lot of ego into what you wrote, and you just got to drop it, and you got to let it go, because sometimes what you wrote is not going to work, and sometimes what you wrote needs to be defended, and finding out where that line is, that's kind of tricky. So maneuvering that, I don't know how I got onto this, but as far as like the pathway of the career path for getting to this point, it's been a learning curve, and I think that's one takeaway I'd give to anybody else who's looking to get into game design is, drop the ego at the door, kick it to the curb, let it go, because yes, sometimes your products are worth defending, something that you did is worth defending, but there are no sacred cows here, and the ultimate pursuit is making the best game possible for the most people. So anyways, I talk way too much. Sorry, you should just never ask me.
No, that's awesome. That's great.
Your answers are always interesting to hear. I learn something every time.
That's awesome. How about you, Amy? Any gaming background or?
Sure, definitely. Yeah, I mean, not. Mine probably goes back to about the same era. I think the first game, I say it was Legend of the Five Rings, because I can't recall one that was much earlier than that. There was some Vampire the Masquerade that was in there early on, and played some 5e and whatnot for a while. I think that for me, the role play aspect of it was way more interesting than the crunch factor. So the GURPS thing, wow, that I did not know that about Jodi, and I find that super interesting. I am probably at the other end of the spectrum when it comes to interesting crunch factor. Once I started working with Aaron, I got pulled into the Suede universe, and the system is such a nice middle ground, right? Like you can make it as crunchy as you want to make it, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so I think as far as kind of bar of entry, that one of the things I liked about Suede in particular was the fact that you could make it what you wanted more easily than a lot of other systems. And then the role play, right? The fact that bennies and stuff like that are built into the system, and there are mechanical benefits to role play, right? That you can reward players for actually doing that kind of thing, I found super compelling. More recently on the development side, I've done some development on with my partner for Arcanist Press, and been writing things for 5e and Savage Worlds and whatnot there. And so my development part has kind of been taken over by the VTT stuff. I spend more of my time converting stuff than actually developing things at the moment, but I have my finger in a number of pies. They're in as many pies as possible that I can get involved in. Keeps me interested and involved.
Very cool. And Kia, you've also touched on it a little bit, but what kind of background do you have on tabletop role-playing games?
Yeah, sure. So most of when I started playing games, we didn't use any actual products. Like I said, when my cousin brought the game, it wasn't any product per se. It was a system that he invented himself. He invented the rules, he invented the ideas, and that was kind of I think the first 1-2 years of gaming was we invented our own system. We got some ideas. It's not important to have the actual system, but then I might get hate because of this. But then one time the cousin came with the D&D, or it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I hated it so much. It was actual product, it was strict with the rules, and it was so deadly. Before that time we were playing rather in a theater in a mindset, and there was not that much of defeat, but everything was very flexible. You made the things come and go, and then when the actual D&D game, it's a rule. There are rules. There are certain things you play, and it's like, oh my god, why things are like this? Why cannot I be something? Why cannot I be mage and warrior and everything together? But yeah, I never got into D&D, but I got into the middle-age role-playing. So I have been a very big fan of J.R.R. Tolkien, and the Middle-earth role-playing game was the first role-playing system I got myself, and I got very attached. And later on, that extended to the Rolemaster, so I have very long Rolemaster background, many, many years. But also, like, afterwards, after seeing or having the burden of rules-heavy systems, like Rolemaster, I started to find something else. I tried many other things, like Twilight 2000, Cyberpunk. They were fine, they were good, but they were never something that I really wanted. I wanted something generic. I tried GURPS, way too, mathematical or kind of hard to at least explain to new people. Then I find this Unisystem by Eden Studios, which is still a brilliant system. I like it really a lot. There are a lot of different genres, or like I think the most famous setting or system is the All Flesh Must Be Eaten, which is basically a zombie game. But there are also something else like a Buffy RPG. There's even like Angel RPG, and then there's like it's the Army of Darkness. That was the first time I ever heard about Savage Worlds. It's kind of strange, but the Army of Darkness RPG. I think it's Shane wrote that, or at least was a co-author or something. I don't recall. But when reading that book, there's one section where it like explains like, yeah, if you like the setting of Army of Darkness, you can also bring this setting to other worlds, and maybe you can go and check Pinnacle Entertainment's products like Savage Worlds and everything. Like, I was like, what is this? What is this? So I went and I checked it. And I was like, yes, this is pretty good system as well. So that's how I got involved in the Savage Worlds.
It's a unique entry. I like that one.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
We have a bunch of questions coming in Twitch and Discord. We are consolidating them. We have a bunch of questions coming up on upcoming releases, which we're going to hold off on asking, but we have them typed up as follow-on questions. We're going to do one more topic before we get there, another fun one, and then we'll hit our upcoming releases. So back at Amy and Jodi, what kind of pop culture items influence you when playing Savage Worlds? You know, things like movies, television, books, video games, etc.
I can take this one first, since Jodi's been going first each time. All kinds of stuff. I'm an avid reader. I read all kinds of fiction, different kinds. Sci-fi is super cool to me. So stuff like The Expanse and Altered Carbon series, I think, influences a lot of my sci-fi genre stuff. I'd say that things like maybe the Iron Druid series of books influences some of my other characters a lot. I'm super interested in characters that are quirky and interact with the world in an unusual way, right? Like it gives us an opportunity to just think about things and problems differently. So any kind of movies, TV that has unusual universe ideas or quirky characters that have unusual motivations and things like that. I definitely think, Army of Darkness is excellent. So I don't know that I could top that one much at all, but I think when I watch movies and TVs and video games and stuff like that, that I'm always kind of thinking about what characters I could play or write from those media. My background on the academic side was also cultural studies and media studies, so it's hard for me not to just analyze and pick apart media as it is. But I will say that one negative influence video games has had is that I cannot pronounce the word bestiary properly and have to respell it almost every time I type it because I've been infected by that problem.
I have the same problem. I always pronounce it just bestiary. It's easier. I'll pronounce it wrong. That way I always spell it right.
I do the same thing.
Jodi's spelling is probably
Shane
much
makes
better
fun
than
of us.
mine.
Yeah.
And you were touching on it, Key, but anything that influences you specifically for Savage Worlds and games that you're playing right now?
Many things influence, but I cannot just pinpoint like few of things. I think rather I'm basically I'm watching a lot of TV series and lots of movies. So I cannot say like all of them. Whenever watching, I'm seeing something very cool or something emotional or something. I'm always picking something like that's a good idea. That is something that can affect. But I cannot just say that one thing or few things would have influenced me that much. I'm just picking like pieces from every place and putting them together. Like I like to create myself, so I don't want to have anything that fully created or too much ready-made. But
yeah, I tied to one thing.
But I think when I'm thinking like the influence, I will be honest. When I was younger, I played a lot of video games and especially JRPGs. I think I have got a lot of influence from those times. Like those are the most. I still recall like one setting that is still. I recall that setting like that I defined myself and like. Last week I was like, that was a nice setting. Should I start playing your game, mastering that again? And that was one of those times that got influence from games like Final Fantasy series and Breath of Fire. Combination of all those games together, like cool pieces from one and saw them together.
Too, I forgot that, because it's been a little while, but Westworld for the Deadlands setting, I think there was so much flavor there that was overlapping and kind of themes that were useful that I think most recently that Westworld was probably a big impact on how I thought about and kind of envisioned Deadlands stuff.
Yeah, the themes thing is big for me. So like Mandalorian has really good Western themes, and that's not a Western, but it has those Western themes of isolation and kind of lone, cowboy out there, justice is on his hands, and that kind of thing. It's like
duels too.
Yeah, with the duels, and I mean, it has a lot of those Western themes and genres. It's in there. So yeah, I like looking for themes and genre. What influences me is I like being very immersive in whatever I'm playing in as a campaign. So right now Clint and I are playing in a duet campaign because COVID, it's just the two of us playing our campaigns right now. So he's playtesting Pathfinder. That's work. Okay, so this is not work. We're playing a Savage Shadowrun game. So don't get excited. We do not have Shadowrun as a license. We are not playtesting Shadowrun. Just don't ask. We're not into Shadowrun.
You get to play whatever you want.
That's right. We get to play whatever we like. And yes, this is what we do for fun is we go ahead and we come up with like rules like, well, if we were doing Shadowrun, we would do it this way. Maybe that'll come out, we get the Shadowrun license and we've already got some work done on that. But for right now, this is just a Clint and Jodi game and then we're having fun with it. So we're talking about rule systems, like how do you handle drugs? Because that's something that happens a lot in Shadowrun. And, and honestly, that's not something Pinnacle wants to touch with a 10-foot pole because we don't like to have settings that emphasize drugs, at all. So, so that's something that we'll talk about mechanic wise. But as far as like pop culture things that influence me for the Savage Shadowrun game, I texted my sister-in-law who works at the library and I'm like, give me all the books you can on cyberpunk culture. She's like, what the hell is that? So so I had to give her I know that they make Shadowrun fiction, but they didn't have any in our library system. But so she got me some young adult books that are kind of cyberpunk or dark future kind of things. And I keep a Pinterest account, so I'll which is private, you won't find me, sorry. But I use that to put together like outfits for my character because I like to visualize like what she'd be wearing to this event or that run or, this kind of thing. I like music. Yeah, I do music. So I'd use the Pandora browser app actually, and I've got it on my phone too. But I'll put together not playlists exactly, but I'll choose from different places, things that are evocative of that genre. So I had to go to YouTube to find actually the video game music for Shadowrun is very good, especially the orchestral stuff, because I get really bored of just the beat heavy synth stuff. So I'm like, okay, I need to do orchestral music.
Not every Shadowrun.
Yeah. And then, like I'm watching on Netflix, like Altered Carbon again, and then pick up, rewatch Blade Runner. And, so that's what I do to kind of immerse myself in the genre. And then that also kind of helps us, pick out like those mechanics that we want to reinforce, those kind of tropes that we want to reinforce in the game as well. So that's kind of our approach to things, is that we go looking for them. Now, have there been times when we'll watch something cool and then go, ooh, I want to play a game like that? Heck yeah. Like I watched one of my sister-in-law who's at the library, she is so good at picking out stuff that I love. So she sent me the Bone and Shadow series that just hit Netflix today.
Yeah,
it just hit today. And I was finishing up the third book in the series when it was announced for Netflix, and I got so excited. So I watched the first 2 episodes today, and I've got some beef with how they're doing it, but it wasn't going to be a faithful reproduction anyways. But it's so exciting just to see it on the screen, and yeah, I would love to play in a setting like that.
I want in on that game if you're running one.
I know, right? That would be so cool. Would you be Grisha, or would you want to be part of the Second Army?
Totally a Grisha.
Yeah, totally a Grisha. So yeah, I think there's lots of ways that pop culture can influence us, and you got to keep your finger kind of on the pulse of the world, especially in this business, because that's what's driving all of us. And any GM out there is probably, getting influenced by the world around us too. So, there's elements of the things that are happening in the world right now that have influenced how we look at the past too. And it's important to embrace that when we look at the past with today's lens. So do you want to play the past with yesterday's lens or looking at it through today's lens? That's a discussion that your group has to have. And a lot of times the answer is through today's lens, because we've all kind of, like children, we've grown up and we've learned a few things. So, I think that that's also part of it too. You can't ignore what's going on around you. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Games are so cool in that way to help us learn and grow and meet new people and consider others' perspectives, that it's built into the system to have that option, which is one of the things I really love about tabletop role-playing games.
Oh, yes. And then, when you mentioned like learning and growing, I've been on my soapbox about getting kids into gaming since before working with Pinnacle. It's like, yes, it's such a good learning tool for children to play make-believe. You don't need the rules systems to do that, but put yourself in other people's shoes to learn that empathy. So yeah, I think that's a good teaching tool just all around, and it gets them away from a screen. So
definitely. Yeah, my kids both.
So I'll ask a question out here. How much has Shane ever disclosed how much of Deadlands may or may not have had any inspiration from Briscoe County Jr.?
I know he likes the series, but Briscoe County Jr. happened after Deadlands, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was influenced by. Now, as like the more recent releases, I don't know. It was Briscoe County Jr. is just a real fun show if you haven't seen it, and I think it's on like Amazon. You can stream like the first, I don't know what it was, like 2 seasons or something like that, and it's old. It shows its age digitally, speaking, but it's so much fun. I absolutely love that show. But is that Deadlands? No, there's not enough. I mean, there's some supernatural, but you don't start Deadlands with the supernatural anyways. You start with it just being kind of a Western, and then you start introducing the horror just a little bit at a time. So that's how I do Deadlands anyways.
Build up to Glom.
Yes.
Of the Wild Wild West in Deadlands for sure.
Yeah. Make it wild, make it weird.
All right. I do have a user question. I think it's coming out of Discord from Pants, but it's relevant to the topic at hand, so I'll ask for Pants. What licenses do you currently have, Jodi and Amy? Do you still have Solomon Kane?
So we do not have the license for Solomon Kane right now, which is because no license lasts forever. Let's just put it that way. If you see a product out there that has that is available for sale today and it is a licensed product, go ahead and buy it now, because once you own it forever. Like, for example, on Fantasy Grounds, we had Solomon Kane. We had it for 10 years. I have the book sitting here right in front of me because I have it for a later question. But it's a great setting. I love that setting. It was one of the first books I edited for Pinnacle. And we don't have it anymore because licenses end. It's not necessarily that there was somebody else who came to them and said, hey, we're going to do a better RPG than Savage World. It's just that the people who owned the license were kind of done tracking the royalties or whatever, like whatever's going on in their mind. They don't have to explain it to us. They're just done.
A lot of them have a timer built in too, right?
That's exactly. Yeah. So we just recently got an extension on our Flash Gordon license, for example. So we've still got Flash Gordon. We've got Pathfinder. We've got the Goon. We've got the Sixth Gun. We've got Fear Agent. We've got Rips. We've got we have a website that I'm going to right this minute to check. Let's see what
it's a longer list than I can keep in my head.
Yep, I think I've got one. I'm going to share it in Discord and in Twitch of everything. But go ahead.
East Texas University is technically a license, so yeah. And let's see. Oh yeah, Lonkmar. We have the rights for Lonkmar, and other RPGs do too. So it doesn't have to be an exclusive thing, but I like our Lonkmar best, of course. And Space 1889. I know you've seen that from other companies too. We still have the rights to the license for Pirates of the Spanish Main. If you remember building those little ships out of plastic that you could get it like credit card sized, and you'd punch out these little pieces of plastic. Yeah, so you can play an RPG with that, and you can still get that from us. Anyways, so yeah, we've got a lot of license settings. I think that's all.
A note of 1889, because I do like a bit of the ether propeller type of thing.
Oh yeah, and the liftwood, and
right, and just the whole Martian culture that's out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, are you guys planning on doing a swaydified version of Space 1889?
It is not currently in the queue, but if you've seen our list of products, we have got a huge list of products that are not out in the Swayed version. Now, some of that is, like for example, East Texas University, we've got like a one-page update that lets you play the current products for ETU, and you can play them with the with that one-page update. So you don't have to do a heck of a lot of changes to the books that are already in print, and you can still keep using them. Some of that is also factored on product. Like we've still got a lot of stock of that in the house, and we've also got a lot of stuff that's just in the line that we want to get out. So do we focus on reprinting the old stuff, or do we try to get y'all new stuff to play? We want to give you new stuff to play. That's our first primary focus. That's why we put out Savage Pathfinder before the companions. I know that a lot of people want to get those companions, and trust me, those are definitely coming up soon. But we really needed to get Savage Pathfinder out there first. Just for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, we're about to touch on the next topic about upcoming releases. So we'll transition to that, but I am going to interject and say, before we move topics, is we are doing a giveaway for those that weren't here at the beginning of the stream. We'll be doing a random drawing at the end for some PG gift cards, and some Fantasy Grounds stuff. If you have been logging in to Twitch or our Discord, I have been updating our tracker. We are up to almost 30 on the drawing now. You have to be here at the end in order to qualify. So if you're not here when your name is drawn, we'll have to get somebody else. And a key, we have a lot of questions coming about what's going to be coming to Fantasy Grounds. So start prepping yourself mentally for that.
I can prep as much as I can. I don't know everything. Just remember, I'm community developer.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll go ahead. We'll start with Pinnacle, guys. If you guys want to discuss what you have coming out, what's in the pipeline, and we'll follow on from that.
Well, since we have a very large audience here of people who like to play online, Amy, how about you talk about our upcoming releases for our other VTT platform?
The thing, yeah. So for Roll20, we got the core Suede Compendium out most recently, and the next one in the queue is Deadlands Weird West Compendium there. On the Foundry VTT side, we've gotten both the Suede core book compendium out and the Deadlands Weird West Compendium there, which we are expanding with an update to include the Deadlands Weird West Companion as well. Down the line, we've got a few other things. We're working on some more of the Deadlands stuff on both sides, so you'll see things like Horror at Headstone Hill and Showdown at Sundown on both of those platforms.
Cool. I know a lot of people
Pathfinder, of course, too. I suppose that's the elephant.
Yes,
that one's been announced on Kickstarter, so we're also Savage Pathfinder is there, and the intent is to get the whole thing and the adventure path, the Rise of the Rune Lord stuff into all of our platforms. So those are definitely on the table too. The to-do list is long on both the regular Pinnacle side and the VTT side. So got to refer to that one pretty regularly to see what's up next, but we'll keep chugging through the stuff and converting things for folks there.
And since Fantasy Grounds does, basically every single thing we put out, they've got a long list too, because I'm sure they looked at that Pathfinder Kickstarter and went, okay, let's get to work. But they can't start work until we finalize it. So don't bother Fantasy Grounds asking for the Pathfinder stuff. We just released draft 2 of the core rules for Pathfinder on Friday. So we're still not at a final point for the core rules. We're getting a lot closer. And many thanks to all of our Kickstarter backers who are providing feedback and playtesting those rules again. We playtest them in-house. We're giving it our best shot, but we do appreciate all of the feedback that we get from everybody posting on our forums and playtesting it at home too. So that is something that's really far down on the pipeline because we got to get it to a final state. That means like print ready. Then we hand it over to Fantasy Grounds and then to Amy's team to be able to implement it for a virtual table. So
the backers will always get it first, right?
Yeah. And Jodi, you got ahead of a major question that we've been getting, so thanks for touching on that.
Oh, sorry. You know what?
Yeah.
A lot of people are just confused about how everything kind of fits together, right? So I'm used to kind of jumping in and trying to clarify and set expectations, because some people are like, oh, it funded on Kickstarter. Where's my stuff? And I'm like, whoa, hang on there. We got some work to do now.
And if you're comfortable talking about it, and we're not, we represent Fantasy Grounds, but we've already touched on Roll20 and Foundry. Are these, and this is probably more for Amy, are these the only 3 virtual tabletops where you can find licensed Savage Worlds or content like that online?
Really, right, is to embrace the whole anytime, any place thing. We want folks to be able to play these games in whatever format they find most comfortable for their groups, right? So as many different types of kind of assets and versions of these things that we can do, the better. And we are mortal beings, and there's only so many of us. So we do the best we can. My team is always expanding, and I know Smiteworks has a whole host of folks doing their stuff too. But I would say that between the Fantasy Grounds offerings, Foundry, BTT, Roll20, and the DIY assets, that those are the focus right now. But that's not to say that it wouldn't expand or shift focus later, right? That we get a lot of questions about Astral, and it's not that we have any issues with Astral in terms of allowing people to use stuff there. It's just a matter of the tools available to us there are less robust than the other platforms. And so also the demand for it has been substantially less. So generally speaking, we suggest that folks make use of the DIY assets on Astral to provide some degree of support there, but the converted materials have not been moved there just because of the limitations of that system.
I'll throw out a kind of out of left field question that's in topic though. Have you guys considered a tabletop simulator? Or are there any plans or thoughts on expanding into that zone?
I have, there's a couple of team members who have used it, and it has more robust tools. You're right. We haven't had that discussion yet because, like Jodi said, right, with the discussion of do we go back and convert older materials or do we produce new materials? And so for the most part, the clamor that we were hearing was for coverage on Roll20 and then Foundry. And so if we continue to hear more demands for, hopefully they're politely phrased demands for other platforms, then we would consider that more thoroughly.
I'll give you a term for it. I like to call them cordial demands.
Cordial demands. I'm stealing that. I like that. We will ask everyone to only ever have.
Kind of in the same vein.
You don't even have to steal it. Like, it's yours.
This is in the same vein, and this is actually coming from me, Greg. Do you guys see virtual tabletop play as a major business model going forward? It's not just as a result of like the pandemic where everybody had to be forced to play from home if they wanted to continue play, but this is something that you think is going to be a major influence in the future for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't.
Absolutely, yes.
People have gotten to meet new folks and play games, different games, and in more ways because of the pandemic. And so a kind of silver lining is that even when we get to go back to being in meet space conventions and things like that, I don't see the VTTs going away anytime soon, right? The convenience of not having to have, a whole pile of books to lug around. I love my books. I love to flip through them. My kids love to flip through them, right? The books are precious things, but at the same time, right? Being able to have the freedom to connect with people in Europe easily, even outside of the cons and things like that, I think is just such a cool thing that people have figured out over the kind of move to more online things that I don't foresee not using VTTs going forward.
So I actually have a perspective on this coming from Carolina Game Tables. So in addition to being COO at Pinnacle, I'm also co-owner of Carolina Game Tables, which is a company that I started with my husband 5 years ago. If you want a quality game table that can also be used as a dining table, please Google us. But we came up with a design called the Streamer Game Table, and that was not only meant to help people who are doing like live streaming of tabletop games, like board games and role-playing games, but we also saw that there was a market for people who had split game groups. So if you're playing in the physical with half of your game group, but then you've got a friend who's deployed or somebody moves away or something like that, setting up like a monitor, putting them on Skype or Fantasy Grounds or whatever. Just we've seen, like, even 3 or 4 years ago, we saw this, that there's a move towards wanting to stay connected to the people that you are friends with. So you want to be able to kind of have that kind of hybrid experience of being able to game together. And if we could build a table that would facilitate that better, then that would be popular, and it has been. So, there's also people who use the virtual tabletops to manage just combat at their table, and they're still meeting in the real. So you can meet in the real, have everything on the digital for the combat stuff, and then you're still talking and meeting face to face, and you're getting that in-person connection that that eases your loneliness. You know, I mean, like when we talk about gaming, what is the best thing that you're getting out of it is a connection to other people. And you're going to get that whether you're sitting right next to them in the physical world or virtually, you know, but it is kind of better if you're physical. You can also give them a hug if you know, are, you know, safe enough to do that. But if you know, can only meet with somebody virtually, at least you're connecting with them. You're able to share your thoughts, emotions. You can role play these characters together. That I'm going to preach a little bit here, but I read something today or heard something today that the biggest problem that's facing our society today, and this was even from a report pre-COVID, is loneliness. And we're not curing cancer here at Pinnacle, but we are maybe addressing one of those, you know, problems in society that a lot of people are facing. So, you know, if you know somebody that has not tried a game, please invite them to one, because you might not, you know, think that you're doing anything big or great, but there's lots of people out there who need to feel that connection.
Hey, Greg.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Let me jump in for just a second. I apologize, but I think that Jodi's touched on something that is so important to all of us. And Jodi, my name's Garner Andrews, or Windrunner here, and so I'm in charge of staff. But one of the things that really matters to me and to Leroon and to many of the others here is mental health and being able to, you know, do things that help others out. And we have all had multiple personal experiences that have drawn us in that direction. But I could not agree with you more that the types of things that we are involved in, look for those silver linings, and make sure that you know, you are doing something, whether it's just small, but to help others out on a regular basis. And given what COVID did to all of us, with the, you know, being locked indoors, there's a massive issue with depression and other things like that too. So you have our total support in that, and it is something that you will see us doing a lot more of as well, as we go forward.
Well, thank you for saying that. And also, I want to say, you know, just kudos to Fantasy Grounds College in general, because this is a group of volunteers, from what I understand, and your sole purpose is to help other people connect online. And I can't think of a nobler profession than that. I mean, even though this is just a volunteer thing that you're doing, you're trying to help each other find connection online. And you might be talking to somebody in Finland, like we're talking to right now. But you know, this is something that you're doing to maybe not only ease your own loneliness, but you're connecting with other people out there too, and helping others connect. And connection is just, it feels like such a weak word, but if you are a person who feels like they have nobody else to talk to and nobody understands them, you know, that's a really sad situation. And I don't want anybody to ever feel that way. My door is always open. Okay. So you can always email me, message me.
Yeah, the community is there in a variety of ways. You know, that service you guys are providing is super important. And there are people in the community, right? And people coming from all different backgrounds and places and mindsets. So, you know, having an inclusive and open-minded group to come and know that you can connect with somebody who's going to be like you in some way or other, right? Just because there's so many people there, but not in a way that is maybe as daunting as doing it in person either, right? That digitally, sometimes that takes a little bit of the stress of social anxiety off as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the important part about the pandemic too is it gave us a window into people who can't normally participate in these physical events at all due to immunocompromisation, being stuck in potential isolation wards, other things that, you know, hopefully expand our awareness and allow us to sit there and include more and different types of people in these situations going forward.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm just noticing a comment here that somebody put up. Having a thing to look forward to, that's something that's huge. You know, if you think you've got nothing else to live for, but if you've got one thing to look forward to, and that one thing is your Savage Worlds game on the next Thursday night or something, I mean, that's a lifesaver. It can literally be a lifesaver for somebody. So anyways, thank you, GMs. Thank you for doing all the hard work.
Yeah,
definitely.
And Jodi, I want to. I've been holding off on hitting enter. I just talking about the Carolina Game Tables. That's you got a website, CarolinaGameTables.com. If I hit enter, I'm promoting the right company, right?
Correct.
Okay, let me send this out.
And thank you.
Oh yeah.
And that was
If
I wanted to follow up into that with, I noticed there weren't any with like an inset monitor or anything, and I know some people have been putting those out. Is that something you guys are considering for the future in Carolina Game Tables at all?
I don't mind answering questions about that at all. No, we don't do anything that's digital or electronic to our tables because they're very DIY friendly. You can do that yourself. Basically, if we tried to do anything like that, we would have to get the entire factory UL certified, and that's not worth the expense. It would drive the cost up by thousands of dollars to you, the end user, and it's not worth that. Just go get the monitor you want and put it in the table you want. So it saves you that kind of money. You can buy the monitor you want on Amazon far cheaper than we could put it in for you. So there are other game table companies out there that do that. So definitely, check the market out. We're by far not the only game table company out there. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. You can email us at info@carolinagametable.com.
And if you were wondering, Doug Davison uses one of their tables. So
yeah, he did. He backed our first Kickstarter, and he got Tablezilla. And then when it was delivered to his house, you know what? That poor thing did not actually fit in his basement, so it had to go in the dining room. Yep. I think that was on purpose.
Yeah, I was going to say it had to go in the dining room.
It had to.
He got to put it in the dining room.
Yep. Yeah. Doug's a good friend. Well, and since people are still kind of talking about the tables real quick online, so we do have a tax-free tables initiative going on. Sorry if you are outside the international borders of the United States, we don't have any options for you. But if you are living in the United States, we are charging no sales tax on orders placed before the end of the month. So that is not a special coupon code or anything that you need to worry about. Just go ahead and place the order, and you save yourself sometimes hundreds of dollars just because we're paying the sales taxes this month.
Awesome, guys. Everybody check out the website, CarolinaGameTables.com. All right, I'm going to be honest, I got a little lost on my notes. We should be coming up on talking about our releases, upcoming releases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some juicy stuff
to us to mess up your organization.
Oh, there's a lot of good conversation. It's fine. I call it goldfish memory. I forget things after about 15 seconds. It's new to me.
Yeah, go take another turn around the bowl.
Yeah, exactly. So we got Kevin's here, Savage Doswak, one of our Fantasy Grounds community developers. So as a heads up, we're going to be asking you what you're going to be working on. That's our next topic.
That's fine. Talking goldfish.
Go ahead, Pinnacle, Jodi and Amy. What kind of big releases do you have? Doesn't have to be Savage Worlds either.
Oh, well, they're all Savage Worlds. Sorry, we're just talking about talking about Pinnacle right now. So I do have a major announcement. Drum roll, please. But our next crowdfunding project is going to be for dun 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 dun. Yes, we're going to come up with a booster project. I'm not sure what platform we're going to be hosting it on yet. I don't have a starter date for you yet, but we are going to do a supplement for Flash Gordon. It's called Moons Over Mongo. And if you have been a fan of our cardboard pawns, we're going to have pawns for Flash Gordon that will be part of this booster project. And of course, those will be virtual tokens for your virtual tabletop too. Those will be rewards that will be bundled into our crowdfunding project. So that's the big news that I, just was like messaging Shane going, hey, can I talk about this? He goes, sure.
Do I get to say?
Yeah, actually, I was like, hey, can I tease this? And he was like, yeah, just go ahead and make the announcement. I'm like, okay, cool. We love making, people happy. So Yes, we are so excited to say that we're going to bring more stuff for Flash Gordon. And if you were listening earlier, we just extended our rights to have the Flash Gordon license. So we've got it for a good while longer. But again, like I said, no license lasts forever. So grab it while you can. But just watch our upcoming newsletters for information about what platform we go with. It'll either be Kickstarter or GameOnTabletop.com or who knows what else. We do have other projects or platforms we're looking at. I can't say anything more about that, but yeah, we've actually hit the limit of how many things you can have running on Kickstarter at one point. So we have to be judicious in what we use Kickstarter for. So it'll be on something, and then yeah. I mean, before I move off of that, does anybody have any questions about Moons over Mongo?
I'm hovering over Twitch watching it.
I know, I'm seeing the response here. There's a lot of comments.
It's one that it's probably a setting that is maybe not as immediate in folks' mind because they've been distracted by Deadlands and Savage Pathfinder, but it's one that maybe folks are going to be excited to add into the mix, you know?
Oh, yes. Yeah. And so we did Flash Gordon as a box set. We did that as a Kickstarter right before Suede. And we kind of used it a little bit as a preview of things to come. So some of the things like Distracted and Vulnerable are in Flash Gordon already that we then brought forward into Suede. So it was originally written for Savage Worlds Deluxe. Of course, we've got a conversion document out there, and the PDFs are probably going to be updated, if not have been updated, something like that. So I'm not sure exactly what we've got going on for the core rules on this. Probably still going to stay with the core rules as they are, just because if we change too much in the PDF, it makes it harder for people to use their books. Just these things you have to keep in mind. But yeah, it's such a fun setting, very over the top, very pulp. It's space fantasy. You get to play, the lion people. You get to play, you have Ming the Merciless and Princess Aura, and some of the pawns. I'm looking through the list here. Are let's see here. What's an octosac? What do you think that would be? Well, I'm looking at it. It's pretty. It'll be something interesting to throw at your characters. A harpy bat, a constrictosaurus, minx scions, power men, a Mongolian Mongotech, lots Mongolian scientist, moon men. A two-headed bat. Huh. Anyways.
Yeah, the art orders are so fun to read on these.
I know, right? Hey, so speaking of art orders, I saw that some people were asking about an update on Atlantis for Rifts.
Yes, I got a couple questions, but that's one of them. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that is definitely getting closer and closer to a point where we can announce a crowdfunding project for that as well. And of course, it won't be just Rifts Atlantis. It's going to be Rifts Atlantis plus cool stuff. But we are getting very, very close on that one as well. And don't forget about the companions. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing those one at a time or together as one Kickstarter. Still kind of trying to think through the process on that. But Shane is working almost exclusively on the companions right now. And he's still kind of keeping tabs on the Pathfinder team. But we've brought on a lot of new staff over the past year, not just including Amy, but and had other staff kind of grow into bigger roles. So we've been able to get a lot of people just really rolling on these different projects. So we've got a project, for Pathfinder, project team for Pathfinder, project team for Moons Over Mongo, project team for Rifts Atlantis, project team for Deadlands, project team for, you name it. We've got lots of different teams that are working on all these different settings. So it's really exciting, especially when I see all those Rifts Atlantis or art orders come through, and the art proofs and art finals and that kind of thing.
It's gorgeous. People are gonna freak.
Yes, you were really going to freak. And I've just been. I actually played. So some local friends of mine decided to get together, and we played a. We started up a one shot basically of Rifts, where we got rifted to Mexico. So we're playing against some vampires there, and I'm playing a mystic, which is actually kind of I'm using the archetype. So that's a quieter character than I usually play. That's hard for me. Can you imagine Jodi shutting up for a minute? But I had so much fun with that game because I kept popping into the background of my my video chat the art orders from Atlantis, and the group was just going nuts. They were like, "Wait, what is that?" So, yeah, it's going to be really cool. I can't wait for y'all to see it. I can't wait for you guys to see all of this stuff. That is the hardest part about working here, is seeing everything and not talking about it.
Not being able to share.
Yep, not being able to share.
Right, because people do want to talk about those Blugorth.
Yes, they do.
I got a Twitch question in the same vein for you, Jodi. Will the last parsec get a facelift? Is that on the planning table? Something you could talk about?
So I don't have anything on the docket for last parsec right now. We do have a book that's mostly finished, and it's kind of been put on hold because, like I mentioned, we've got so many projects we're trying to get out in such a small period of time. It's we can't use Kickstarter all the time. So how do we get all these projects out, right? So I don't have a team working on last parsec currently, but we do have some things in the works for it. So it's not like we're ignoring it entirely. We just don't have anything. We don't have it at the top of the list, I'll say.
And maybe this one is coming from Cyberkinetics. I think we're kind of in the same vein, and this is also for you guys. Now that we've talked about virtual tabletops being in your future and what you have upcoming product releases, do you think about how it affects a virtual tabletop when you're game design, as far as content and what goes into that on the digital side?
Yes, that has definitely been driving the art orders quite a bit. We did not. So when we did art orders, we did half pagers, we did full pagers, we did archetypes, and we really only needed, say, 6 to 12 archetype pictures, to be able to do the archetype PDF on its own, and then you recycle that art to use in the book. Well, since we've started doing the figures, and you need those for virtual tabletop, now we're doing a lot more. Like, I think here, because I have the moons on over Mongo,
the pawns have really upped the game, right? I would say that. Yeah. We don't limit what Shane and Simon do on the design side. I wouldn't say that it goes that far, but thinking ahead to what kind of assets we need, definitely.
Yeah. So we've got at least 30 here so far in the Pawns folder for Flash Gordon. And I believe Amy was going to send a list, or was that a different project, Amy, that you were talking about? That you had a list of
you leaked Rifts. So I'm just going to say maybe it's that.
Yeah, maybe it was Rifts. Yeah. So maybe there will be more images coming for Rifts. Yeah. So that there's other people who are submitting lists like Amy for Rifts saying, hey, we need images of this, and this. Make sure we have all that. And these are standalone images so that they can be used for the virtual tabletop. So if we've got the standalone images, it doesn't mean that we're necessarily statting each and every single one out. Like, for example, there's, all these different types of Mongo soldiers. We're going to say, okay, for this variant, just change these 2 stats, But there's definitely going to be images for them because they look so different. You don't want to have like a red Mongo soldier there if it's supposed to be a blue one. You can't, I'm not going to just put a filter on that. So we've had to change things because of that.
we try and reproduce as faithfully as possible the original aesthetic of the products as well, right? We want you to feel on the VTT like you're flipping through the book in a way, right? But just digitally. And so, totally hyperlinked and text searchable as well, but that the aesthetic and the visual kind of impact of it is going to be similar, right? A lot of thought goes into the production side of things on PEG to make sure that the books look awesome, and we don't want to lose any of that or degrade the product at all, right? We only want to enhance and improve it during our conversions. So that's definitely something that we think about. What the decisions that were made behind designing a book in a particular way, right? That keeping certain sections together made sense from a design principle and had reasons, right, for clarity or aesthetics or whatever. And so we do try and preserve that kind of thing when we make our conversion as well.
And also the combat maps. We've done more combat maps that aren't just kind of sketches without, range increments. They are they're made to be put into a virtual tabletop now. So, there used to be like this is the inside of the house or something like that you're going to, storm. But yeah, we're definitely adding more maps into the lineup. So, so I know that that's another thing that the virtual tabletop people are looking for is more maps, says 80. I love y'all, but that was always one of the weak points. Well, thank you. We knew that. But we were usually playing on, a tabletop in person. Lone Jedi just said more maps too.
Yeah,
so I'm looking at
everybody loves them. Our cartographers are happy too.
Yeah. Well, actually, that might be a good transition point to the Fantasy Grounds community developers, because I'm sure that's something they deal with and are excited when they see stuff like that. So I think we'll go ahead to, we have Kevin here now too, and Ikael. If you guys want to talk about your upcoming releases, what you have coming to Fantasy Grounds. For those that don't know, Fantasy Grounds content from Pinnacle, it has to, after its release, gets developed in-house or by our community team. So the stuff is still coming out, and if you guys, I'll hand it over. Let's start with Ikael. You got this one?
Yeah, I can start. Maybe Kevin can introduce himself, but yeah, the whole community developer model that Smiteworks is having is basically me and Kevin, we are not Smiteworks employees. We're not hired by them. We're just hobbies, gamers ourselves who are interested in this stuff. And well, we have the skills to do some content for the Fantasy Grounds. I'm personally more on the technical side, so I'm developing the rule set, Savage Worlds rule set for Suede and the Deluxe edition. But also I have done some adaptation work, like Deadlands, The Weird West, the Crystal Hearts, I love it, and some other, like the last Parsec. It's only missing the Iron Gate. I mean, the last one that was released.
Iron Gate was great. Thank you.
that's the one of my favorite. I haven't adapted that because it came out and then Suede came out and it was like, okay, will there be something like Suede version of that or something that I could do instead? So I have been waiting it for some time, but yeah, maybe I forgot about it as well. Anyways, so my point of view, I'm rather on the technical side, so my focus is on the rule set, so developing the rule set features. When Smiteworks or the core RPG introduces some stuff, I'm the one checking that, okay, this is what it is in core RPG. Is it working in Savage Worlds? Do I need to add something to make it actual work there, or do I want to tweak it so it's working for the rule system itself? And the development cycles, I cannot say that the new products are coming in, but the new updates are coming in. At the moment, the development is a little bit in waiting mode, because we were planned to work on the Savage Pathfinder, but like Jodi said, the green light is not yet there, so I'm waiting. But when the green light is hitting, then the next major development cycle for the rules is going to start. So that's my big beef that I can give out.
And Kevin, anything you want to add on that? Something you're working on?
Well, yeah. I can't believe I've been remembering all week this was happening, and then at 8 o'clock I found myself sorting stuff out and came upstairs and saw all the frantic messages. So sorry about that.
Okay. Glad you made it.
Let me see. Yes. The one I'm waiting for really is for you to stop updating the Pathfinder rulebook. PDF. Stop it. Just release it already. No, only joking. Yes. So, I've just finished. So ones I've just completed but aren't released yet for Fantasy Grounds would be Horror on Headstone Hill, finished Blood Drive this week. Non-Pinnacle products, still waiting on Sprawl Runners to get released by Fantasy Grounds. They're all three of those are in QA. I'm causing myself no end of headaches in the future, I am sure, but I'm currently about a third away into working through version 1.0 of the Pathfinder PDF. Just getting all the edges and everything into Fantasy Grounds, knowing full well that I'm going to have to go back through the entire thing and change it. But I have a cunning plan, and I hope it works. But so yeah, really, at the moment, I'm not sure if there's anything. I think I've just cleared off my list. The next thing on my list, I think, is Savage Pathfinder. Sorry, Pathfinder for Savage Worlds, I should say.
No, either one's good. We call it Savage Pathfinder too. Even Paizo calls it Savage Pathfinder. So you're good. You're good.
Yeah, you did hit Sprawl Runners. Was going to be a follow-on question. That one has been getting asked a lot on the Twitch. So you answered that one. How about any ideas when a full Rift rules will be coming to Fantasy Grounds? I know there's content already on the store.
No, that's a good question. Someone else is doing the Rift side of things. I have to be honest. It's nothing. It's not one I've got involved with. But I do believe someone is working on it somewhere in the background. But that's not one I have to admit. I don't want to say it on here after everyone seems to really like it. But Rift is one setting that never really grabbed me, if that makes sense. Maybe because I've never actually played it. So.
Well, it is kind of like everything in it. You know, it's space, it's fantasy, it's modern, it's post-apocalyptic, it's gritty, it's dark.
I was super intimidated by it before I played it, but
honestly,
after I actually got into it, it was like, oh, I get it. I see why Rift's persuaded the thing.
If Rifts were a pizza flavor, it would be pepperoni, spinach, anchovies, and ice cream.
Lucky Charms.
Exactly, because you keep on throwing more stuff into it.
Yeah, but the other cool part there is that you just kind of keep what you want too. Like, you know, like you. So, for example, in our first game, we like I said, we got rifted to Mexico, and we were headed to I'm going to mispronounce this. I'm so sorry, but Ciudad Juarez, and we had an overnight, and a group of 3 came up and shared our campsite with us. Guess who those 3 people were? They were Blade, Buffy, and Vlad the Impaler in an Iron Man suit, because you can do that. He goes, that's Rifts for you. You can meet vampire hunters in Mexico, like the real vampire hunters from other universes, because, you know, they rifted in.
Yeah, as I say, the other, it's an interesting catch-22. I think one of the main reasons I haven't really done anything with Rifts is because it's not available on Fantasy Grounds, which I know is an interesting situation. But because all I ever get to play these days is online. This was even before the last year. You know, my other group sort of moved around, so we only played online anyway. So most of the settings, they end up on. A lot of the reasons a lot of stuff ends up on Fantasy Grounds that I've done is because it's like, well, I want to play that. But yeah, I think the biggest hold up at the moment for Rifts, judging from the chats that have gone in the past on the forums from whoever, I can't remember the name of the guy who's doing it. It's quite embarrassing.
Gun Bunny Foo Chris is
that's
the
that's
developer.
It. Thank you. Thank you. I think, ironically, it's as I say, it's an interesting catch-22. Well, again, it goes back to Savage Pathfinder, because once Savage Pathfinder is officially released and Aki starts doing the changes to the Savage Worlds and Fantasy Grounds rule set to support Savage Pathfinder, then Gun Bunny Fufu can finally get in the multiple arcane backgrounds, because Savage Pathfinder means Aki's got to actually work out a way to get multiple arcane backgrounds into Fantasy Grounds. So it's interesting how it all links, I think.
Yeah, that feature has been asked so long time, but now it's close to my work, so I might do it.
I'm not going to lie. I was one of those people pushing for multiple arcane backgrounds back on the Idea Informer.
There's a workaround, but that's about it at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, the idea, why it's not there, because there's a workaround. You don't need to have it. You can still play, you can still have everything. So no, that's why I haven't rushed it.
So I do have a couple more follow-on questions for our community developers based on the same topics. Is any plans that you're aware of for Yggbjorn Call of Cthulhu on Fantasy Grounds?
I don't know is the honest answer there. That's Modiphius, isn't it? Yggbjorn Call of Cthulhu. So there'll be all different licensing, I believe. So.
Well, I have my personal realms of Cthulhu, but that's not for commercial use. That's for my personal use.
Yeah, but I must admit, I'm afraid it's. I'm aware of the existence of Yggbjorn Cthulhu, but again, I'm very one-tracked. I discovered Savage Worlds back when with the Swex books when they were about, what were they, $9.99 in America? They were £6 in the UK, and I found the book, read it, loved it, went back to the game shop the next day and bought out the entire stock and just gave them to each of my players, and that was 2000. I went about 2008, and I haven't played anything else since. To be honest, I'm very much a Savage convert these days, I'm afraid. But what was the other questions?
And the other one, I kind of think I know the answer, but I'll let you answer to it. Is the stuff you guys are still working on still going to be compatible with Fantasy Grounds Classic?
Well, this is an interesting one. As I've done a couple of lessons this month on using the Savage Worlds Enhanced Library, which is a lovely extension Aki wrote. Actually makes my life so much easier. Basically lets you use markup to create modules in Fantasy Grounds. And it is actually designed to work with Fantasy Grounds Classic. So because of the way for myself and to a lesser degree Aki, because he's doing more of the coding these days, but if you're creating modules, we have to create them in Fantasy Grounds Classic to make them compatible with Classic and Unity. So logically speaking, as long as Classic still exists, anything I do will work in Classic, yes. Because, as I say, you could if you develop it in Unity, it isn't backwardly compatible with Classic. But if you develop it in Classic, there's just a couple of extra steps you do to make it work in Unity. You have to get your line of sights in Unity for the maps. So, yeah, until they kill Classic off, as far as I'm concerned, it's the one I still use for all my development. I run games in Unity, but I do all my deving in Classic.
Yeah, but there are some cases like we discussed, the Savage Pathfinder might be just for FGU, because there will be a lot of these modules, adventure paths and so forth, that will be utilizing the Unity systems, features more. So it might not be a good idea to have it in Classic, where you cannot have all the fully nice features available. So this is one exception where we discuss should be just Unity version only. But yeah, most of the modules created are compatible with Unity and Classic.
As I say, I wasn't aware but I think they were still talking about that one. So if they've gone that route, then you'll have to update my answer with that, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
It's not yet locked down, but this is a discussion that we had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we got one coming in. It's getting typed out. Is if players, they have the PDF of something they have that's not currently developed in Fantasy Grounds. Is that something that's playable on Fantasy Grounds? Any recommendations to those that want to use the Savage Worlds rule set?
Yeah, just as I say, basically, basically download the Savage Worlds Enhanced Library extension that Aki wrote, and find my video. I recorded the lesson I did on YouTube. Ask questions on Fantasy Grounds College if you get stuck on anything. Download the Eberron. It's a free Savage Eberron rule set that's on the Fantasy Grounds forums, because in that tailing included all the markup he used to create all the modules. So that will give you an idea of how it all works. See, Flo's adding the links in as we speak. And then you can literally, if you want to go, and you can literally produce the modules yourself. Conversely, you don't even need to go that whole hog if you don't want to. You literally just create the edges inside the rule set, and they're there for in that particular campaign. So
yeah, I would like also mention to this that you can create as a user. You don't need to be programmer. You don't need to be developer. You can create whatever content, edges, skills, add those things to your Fantasy Grounds campaign. Have them in. You don't need to purchase commercial product, but those are made by us because, we put a lot of energy and effort and sweat, sometimes blood, to make them happen. So they are available. They are ready to go for you. So that's why they're, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. As I say, you don't need to, as long as you've got if you've got the Fantasy Grounds software and you've got the Savage Worlds rule set for Fantasy Grounds, that is technically all you need. It's just if you can do it all yourself, it will save you money, but it won't save you time. And believe me, it does take the time.
How did you do your Interface 02?
This is the one I like to say. Interface 02 was the one that nearly killed me. It took me 13 months to do that rule book because it was a big rule book. But that was the last thing I ever coded by hand in XML. As I say, I did the whole book by hand. Interface 03. I didn't even want to touch because of Interface 02, but in the end, I did it, and because I had the Savage Worlds Enhanced Library markup code, and by then an understanding of how it works properly with some help from Aki, I did that in 31 days.
Yeah, the Enhanced Libraries, a community tool that I developed for free, and it's going to be always free. It was just for me that I want to create content before I was even the developer for the rule set. But I created it because I want to have easy way to produce the content. And it kind of extended. And now whenever I'm doing any adaptation for Fantasy Grounds, I'm always using the
That was the last thing I ever coded.
So like Suede Book, Deadlands, Crystal Heart, all the stuff I do, they are done and maintained and updated using that Swell extension.
Yeah, and if the other one of yours that's very useful, and every so often I will say, could you tweak it to work with this PDF? Would be the SW Maker. It used to be called the NPC Maker, and now it's SW Maker. Literally, open the PDF, copy the monster, paste it into, open up Fantasy Grounds, open up the NPCs tab because you've loaded the Maker extension. Click Create NPC, and 90% of the time it will work. Sometimes you have to tweak it before you paste it in, but all the NPCs are in, the monsters all keyed in, and if you've preloaded all the modules that uses, Aki's even done the clever stuff, so it will go, oh, this guy's got this edge, right, we'll link it to that edge, or he's got this special ability, we'll link it to that. So it's all done for you. Again, speeds up things no end. I use that one all the time. That's one I will actually use mid-game sometimes, because players go some way and I go, oh, I've got a monster for that, but I haven't keyed it in yet. Just copy, paste, bang, put it on the map, let the players kill it.
Good stuff, guys. Thanks. I gotta interject. We are at about 30 minutes remaining, so we're gonna transition to our Q&A part, open Q&A for those in attendance. I do have a couple more written questions that we've taken out of Twitch. So for Jodi and Amy and the Fantasy Grounds team, the prepared questions, I'm probably going to get off of those for now and let our guests actually ask you questions direct. But I do have a couple more that applied, so I'll start getting those in. For those that are in attendance, I am wrapping up my roster for our giveaways, our raffle. We have 30 already, and I'm just going to start sanitizing it. You do have to be here at the end, though, to claim it. So I'm just going to go. We're going to just switch this off topic. It's now open Q&A time, and I'm just going to start reading off questions that I've had queued up. In the meantime, everybody feel free to start typing them in Discord. As soon as I'm done getting through these questions, I'm going to open up mics so you could ask questions directly as well. So I got two coming up for Amy and Jodi. The first one was already answered in Twitch, but we'll go ahead and ask it. So we got Rifts coming out on Fantasy Grounds. It looks like we can confirm that it will be coming out on Foundry. Any follow up to that?
Yeah, definitely. There's, as Jodi said, we're trying to make sure that we can do the support we want and keep the art and stuff consistent. And so going through and having our most popular settings available on as many platforms as possible is definitely the goal. But Rifts is in the queue for both Roll20 and Foundry VTT on my side of the fence. So we've started scoping that one. We're still working on Deadlands stuff and going to do some of that. And Savage Pathfinder, as those materials get cleared and approved and finalized and, incorporate the feedback we've gotten from playtesting and things like that, will probably come in before. But we won't make promises on dates. But it's in the queue, and it is planned for as many platforms as we can handle.
All right. Another question for you two coming up from Twitch was any plans to see Amy and Jodi play any actual games, any game time soon? Possibly on a virtual tabletop, and then if so, which one?
Yes, I'm going to be on an actual play for Deadlands sometime in the next 2 weeks, I think. We'll be recording.
Mother's Day, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it aired on Mother's Day? Or I don't know, but I'm not sure when it's airing. I think we're recording and then airing. So I'm not sure when it's going to be aired. And I believe I'm not sure which virtual tabletop we're going to be using, but the GM is Chris Hussey, who's known in the mostly on Twitter, but also in kind of the Savage Worlds universe. He's a really cool guy, and he runs a great game. And I'm not sure which virtual tabletop he'll be using, but he will be using a virtual tabletop. So just tune in. It'll be fun. I'll be playing a Wichita Witch, and I can't wait.
Yeah, we've expanded the amount of time that y'all will have to see my face, unfortunately. So we're doing some virtual table talk series to help folks with like tutorials and facts and that kind of thing. First, as far as real gameplay, we'll probably do pieces and things like that. But I usually leave the live gameplay to other folks who are better at that than I am.
I don't know about better, but maybe
I have a mouth like a sailor and am really ill-behaved at the table. I am a danger to GMs, and I love my GMs very much. And I'll just leave it at that.
Awesome, thank you. Next up might be for Ikael. Any updates to NE? I'm assuming that is Necessary Evil.
I have not worked on the Necessary Evil, so I cannot answer that.
That's probably my bad.
Yeah. You got anything for that, Kevin?
I did that. Updates. Well, have Pinnacle released a Suede conversion guide for NE yet?
I think so. I will check.
If you have, then
it's just like everybody else.
If you have, then it fell past my radar.
Yes, we have. Well, we have the Necessary Evil Breakout.
Yes.
Errata page. So, no, we don't have the conversion document.
Necessary Evil 2 Breakout. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Well, it's an interesting one, actually, because, I mean, I can do it, but obviously it would still be as it's in the book there, and it will obviously be using the deluxe Superpowers companion, obviously, but I won't say no. I must admit I'd forgotten about NE2 Breakout, so maybe. Forgot nothing else to do.
It's in the queue.
It is now.
I think I have one more question that I've been holding on to before I ask anybody in attendance to open up mics. Amy and Jodi, any original or non-licensed settings in the works?
Yes, last fall we mentioned. So we hosted our own virtual convention that we kind of did to kind of draw attention to an upcoming setting called Holler, an Appalachian apocalypse, and it's going to be super cool. So that one is a new and original. Actually, that one's technically a licensed one too. Should have mentioned that earlier. But that's that one's going to be super cool. It's very. So I live in the mountains of North Carolina, so I know these people. Like I see these people in the supermarket sometimes. They live in the holler, and they simply have their own culture. It's not a thing to like just make fun of like hillbilly people or anything like that. These are good, honest, hardworking people who are just kind of salt of the earth, and they're just kind of insular. But take that and then surround it with elements of horror, the fae, that there's a veil that's impenetrable, that you cannot leave the mountain pocket of land that you're in, and that is pretty much the setting for Holler, and it's very scary and very cool, and I can't wait to see more from that team.
I have my Smoky Mountain National Park shirt on.
Awesome. Let's see, we got any more questions coming in? As we get these questions coming in, if there's any breaks in this, I could go back to we have a couple more pre-generated topics we could fall back on, but I just want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to have their voice heard. And I know our Fantasy Grounds developers and Pinnacle would like to hear from you all if you have any input or questions.
Then I will ask my question, which was, my players are weird. They really like loot, but Savage Worlds doesn't really have any loot to give, like magical items or something along the lines. Are there any plans to make a companion filled with items to give my players?
Yes. So most of the times when you're thinking about loot, you're thinking about like fantasy settings. So the fantasy companion, the old one, did have kind of a treasure table that you could roll randomly on it. The new fantasy companion will also have that. Then it'll be updated. It'll be Swaydified. We are updating all of the companions for Swayed. And I think that that's something that you're going to find in all of the companions is an easy way to kind of generate cool and interesting things. Now, any of the settings, like for example, the Deadlands companion, I think it was, had a series of relics in it that you could use in your game. So those are cool loot items. Now you wouldn't want to give those out every game session because you're going to be dealing with a lot of trouble if you do. But there's going to be there's opportunity for getting loot stuff in different settings. And then I also challenge people to put their loot into our swag portal on DriveThruRPG. So if you haven't heard about swag, it's the Savage Worlds Adventurers Guild. Most of the different RPG settings or systems like D&D and Pathfinder and Cypher and all these others, they have a different guild. So with our guild, it's the same thing. You click through the agreement, you upload your very professional looking product. We do have guidelines there for you to do that. Make sure you read those carefully. You have to include our disclaimer, our logo, all that kind of stuff. But you put it up for sale and you get to keep, I think it's 60% of the proceeds. DriveThru takes 30%, and then we're just taking 10%. So I challenge you, put stuff up on the swag portal and see what everybody else thinks about it too. if it's good, it's going to sort to the top. And quite honestly, that's where we're looking for our new talent these days. Is we're looking to see who's putting stuff on the swag portal, and do people like it? Is it any good? So yeah, check it out. Take a look at swag.
Awesome. We got two more questions coming in from Twitch. The first one, let's see, coming from Dersham. Any major Savage conventions coming up in the next year or so?
So conventions, no. We don't have anything planned for in person yet. We're still evaluating that, one at a time, and we have not made any plans yet to attend any conventions. So I will say that definitively, as of this moment, as of today, we have not made any plans to return in person to conventions. Now, each member of our team might individually go to a convention. For example, Clint and I always go to Mace Convention in Charlotte in November. So we're definitely going to that convention, but Pinnacle as a whole is not setting up a booth or going to a convention. As far as like an online convention goes, we keep talking about how we need to host another, like Halloween, or do another, do another online con, because we had so much fun with the first one. We just have to get around to doing it, because we did have a lot of fun with it, but it was a lot of work too. So it would mean taking kind of some people off of other projects to do that, and we just have to dedicate the time and set a date, and we just haven't done that yet. So it's something on our list, and we definitely want to do that. Now, as far as like not a convention, but it is an event, we do have 2 official events that we've announced. In August, we are going to be meeting in Deadwood, South Dakota. You can register for it on our website, peginc.com, for the Deadwood event. And we're going to be celebrating the 25th anniversary of Deadlands. Now, this will be a small, kind of very special, like probably no more than 200 people total. Just get together. We're going to go shoot some paintballs in a duel, like they do have like paintball pistols or something like that. Maybe we'll ride some horses. We'll go to a buffalo ranch, to the Tatanka experience from Kevin Costner. There will be gaming. There will be so much Deadlands. The Pinebox Entertainment is working with us to provide a lot of Doomtown games as well. Which is also using the Deadlands license as a card game. And just in general, it's going to be so much fun. So I'm going to that. There's a lot of our team that's going to that. And then next January, so January 2022, we're setting sail out of Orlando, and we are doing a Savage cruise. And we've already got more than 100 people signed up for that. So we don't know if we're going to have to set a cap on that. We probably will. And we don't know what that cap will have to be. But that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be cruising to Belize with other stops in like Costa Maya and Cozumel, I think. So much fun. And if you have never been on a cruise, it's a great family-friendly event. Bring your kids. My family's been cruising since before, the Savage Worlds cruises started. So we're old hands at the cruise thing, and definitely bring your kids, because it's a great experience, and they have daycare. Sorry, they have childcare. They will watch your kids and give you a few hours to go play a game, and that's just part of the money that you're paying. And it's kind of like when you pay for the cruise, you're paying for the room and board on the ship, kind of like a dorm, I guess. Your food is included. You get your food, you get your bed, you get all the entertainment, you're getting the childcare. It's all amazing. And then our fee is for like the game registration and organization and swag and that kind of stuff. So check it out. We've got that information on our website. Flo says, very good for spreading viruses too. Honey, you're going to get that anywhere. But we do hope that everybody's going to be fully vaccinated at that point. There's an option to back out, if you don't feel that it's safe. I think you can get your deposit fully refunded by, I think, October or something. So you can put in your deposit now. And there's let's see, was it War of the Dead? Anyways, there was a whole great PDF release, or no, it was actually in physical form too. that was done by one of our licensees that was just fantastic. That was started on a cruise ship, so not just coronavirus. I don't think we're going to have a return of that zombie virus, but that would be funny if it was.
Great. That cruise sounds awesome. I'm going to look it up.
Oh, please. Check it out.
We still got about 5 more minutes before we do the drawing. I have one question I'm holding on in Twitchverse. Does anybody here present want to ask a question before I ask that one? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read this one. This is from John Doom. Was I correct in saying Hell on Earth is in the queue for a Suede update?
Yes, all of the Deadlands timeline pieces, like including Deadlands Noir 2. New R. Not say this word. Sorry, anybody who loves French language. I can't do it. But yes, and Dark Ages.
I was about to say, yeah. What about Dark Ages? Sorry.
Yeah, Dark Ages, Deadlands Noir, and and Hell on Earth. All of those will be sueded at some point. And of course, Dark Ages will be a brand new release. All of these are, in the production timeline for our Deadlands team. So we've got so much content coming for Deadlands, and some of the the concept art for Deadlands Dark Ages is so cool. I wish I could talk more about that.
I'm not gonna lie that working on it gives me nightmares if I do it late at night. I just see putting that stuff in late at night is not a thing I do anymore.
All right, so I've got a question that I think is very apropos for the moment. Can you guys give us your socials where people can follow you? And that way we can make sure we put that out on Twitch and in the Discord.
I'm antisocial by nature, but will be on Twitter occasionally. So Twitter's probably the easiest place to find me. There's always the info@peginc.com email can get to me as well. But let me paste my Twitter info.
You only need to paste what you're comfortable pasting or throwing up.
I'm gonna hide from people. I'm not that bad.
I'm not personally on Twitter. You can follow Pinnacle at @peg_games on Twitter, and on Facebook it's Pinnacle Ent Group. Just just search Facebook for Savage Worlds, you'll find us. There's also a Facebook group that's very active. I recommend that. We're also on Instagram, so you can follow us there too. It has the same user handle as Facebook, of course. And I'm personally on Facebook. You can follow me there. I post a lot about just day-to-day stuff. Like, I think Friday I posted a rant about filing sales tax in Texas. So I don't know that you're going to find it very interesting all the time, but that I just post about my life. And you're welcome to follow along. I don't keep many things private. So, I think that's it. There, as far as Savage Worlds goes, there's plenty of also other great communities that are unofficial that I encourage people to find. Of course, you've got your excellent Fantasy Grounds community, the Fantasy Grounds College. There's the Discord. There's an unofficial Savage Worlds Discord. And there's an unofficial Reddit community. All of those are excellent. I poke in on them, from time to time, and chat with people there, or just see what people are saying sometimes. So, they're all great places, and everybody who plays Savage Worlds is just awesome.
Yep. And Jodi, don't forget Carolina Game Tables. Do you guys have any type of social media presence for there?
I'm so glad you asked. Yeah, @Game Tables. So @Game_Tables. Actually, I think it's just @Game Tables. Hang on. I hired somebody who handles my my socials. So yeah, it's actually @Game_Tables for Carolina Game Tables on Twitter, and pretty much the same thing over at Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, we'll take any questions you may have, time permitting, after we do our drawing. For now, Laren, do I got you on mic?
Well, actually, there was one more bit we need to continue with because we also have developers here.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a fact that Savage Doswell has a YouTube channel.
Yeah. How about it? Yeah, guys, our community, Fantasy Grounds community developers. What about your guys' socials, and where can we find you?
That's probably the easiest one, I think, for me. That's obviously with YouTube, with Twitch, and also a link to buy all my lovely Fantasy Grounds products. But my YouTube channel's getting some following. Twitch, on average, I get one whole view. Actually, in fact, quick aside there, I was streaming a game of Sprawl Runs today. I had one person watching it. One of my players had 6, and I wasn't a bit annoyed at all, really.
That's awesome. I have to say that Clint used Sprawl Runners and Interface Zero a lot for our Savage Shadowrun game. Like, why recreate the real? There's already plenty of good stuff there.
This is it. So, but as I say, if you were trying to get Hearth's questions for myself, I'm usually on the Fantasy Grounds Discord channel. I'm also lurking around on Fantasy Grounds College now. So, the YouTube link I think is already up there somewhere. I've put in the Who link, so I'm easy to get hold of, I'm sure, but no one ever really wants to. So,
you might be surprised after this. You'll be slammed with requests. Sorry, Don. Go ahead.
Go ahead. That's all right. I was going to say, Ikael, I know you're a busy man with a family and such. Did you have any socials where people could reach out to you, or you'd like to be followed? Or
if you want to follow me, you need to travel to Eastern Finland, find me in person, and follow me, and try not to be awkward. I do not have any social media. I don't keep up social media, high profile or whatever. The alternative is to join the Fantasy Grounds Discord server and the Savage Worlds channel. That's where you can actually ping me, and I will eventually see you. I don't practice internet beyond my actual work.
Gotcha. So
and after my own heart.
Exactly. So Fantasy Grounds forums and the Discord channels are decent places to reach out to you, would you say, Ike?
Yep, those are the top places.
Awesome, I appreciate that. All right, so we are on the giveaway time. Leroon, we had a plan, and our website went down for maintenance, so I have updated our roster manually.
Okay.
Do you want to kill your stream the Discord chat, please? That way I could show you the list, and then would you be comfortable?
Yeah, I'll get rid of the. You're talking about the. I got it.
Yeah, because what I was planning on doing was just using our tables, do custom importing and pasting a custom table into Fantasy Grounds.
Yep.
So we have the overlay going in Twitch.
Right.
And if you wouldn't mind live streaming it, and I'm going to give you this list. I'm going to PM you. Okay. We have over 30.
30 folks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our giveaways today. Pinnacle, you guys want to announce what you're giving away? I'll let you guys take that.
So we gave you some coupons to our website. So you'll go to peginc.com. Put anything you want into the cart if you are the lucky recipient of one of these coupon codes. And then when you apply the code, you've got $50 USD that you can use towards your purchase. So that will be applicable towards shipping. Yay for you international people. Or you can use it towards product and shipping, or just product. And you can use it for digital product. You can use it for physical product. You can get it just a pair of a set of minis, or miniatures, or you can get a new adventure. Okay. And by the way, I have really enjoyed watching the overlay. I saw the city streets of Chicago that started raining. I was like, oh, that's really cool.
By the way, she did give me those codes. So if you're a winner, you have to be really, really nice to me.
And what was the value on those? We have 3 of them, right?
Yep, $50 each. Yep,
$50 each. That's awesome.
Yep.
And we've got agreements for every 10 participants we have. We were going to give away 1 Savage Worlds book at the Fantasy Grounds store website. So that's going to be 3 of those as well.
Nice.
Is that right, Garner? Is that
yes?
Okay.
That is correct.
So that looks like we're generating for 6 winners. And Leroon, I sent you the the CSV file.
I'm on it. Do you delimitate by commas or?
It should be standard CSV output by comma.
Okay. Right now I'm importing the list of names into a table that it can be rollable. See if that, yep. You see how simple that was?
Yeah, that's our lesson of the day here.
So,
I did scrub Peg Jodi. I'm assuming you don't want to win a prize, but if you do, let me know. We could throw you back in, and
so
Amy, I scrubbed you out of it as well.
So in Fantasy Grounds, you can make any table you want. What I did is I imported it, and our dice is a 1d37. No such thing, but you can do that in Fantasy Grounds.
Slick. Oh, this is perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to label this. Okay, so what's the first prize? What are we looking at here? And it will keep the results in the chat. Matter of fact, let me close all this out and clear the chat out, and it will tell us who all the winners were. So we have the Savage Worlds winner giveaway table, and in the chat area, it will keep track of who rolled what.
Do you want to do the 3 coupons first?
Sure.
We'll say that you can't. We'll re-roll on a repeat on that.
That's right. So let's
go.
Go ahead.
Learn.
Okay.
Say again. Yeah, we got to be present to get it. So afterwards, we're going to ask you to meet us on our Discord, so we get your email and your information, so we get the awards.
All right. First roll. The result is Landauer. So number 24, Landauer.
Yeah, Landauer. That's from Twitch.
Yep.
Actually,
he's one of ours.
So. Yeah, he's on the Pinnacle staff. He can get.
Oh, so re-roll. We're doing a re-roll.
Yeah,
you just can't win, Chris.
Yeah,
yeah. There's
unlock the table. You can delete an entry so you don't get them again.
Yeah, good.
Then we're down to 1d36.
Yeah, we could do that. So if we go to unlock the table, and if I come down to this entry, we could edit that out. But I want to see if it actually rolls again, just for the fun of it. So if it does, we'll just re-roll again. No biggie. Okay, so again, Thunder _1992. So the result was 36.
All right, so Thunder from Twitch.
Okay. So that's our first official winner for the coupon code. And second, Roach. Hey, what do you know? Roach, I believe, is the correct Roach that we all know and love. That is one of our faculty members, or at least a heavy participant here. Congratulations.
Nice. Good job, Roach.
J. Boyd, 158, result 18. So that's your next winner.
J. Boyd, 158 in Twitch. Let me let him know.
Yep. And
congratulations, everybody.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. So we got 3 winners there. So what's the next?
Coming up next is 3 Fantasy Grounds web store. I guess it's a book of your choice, $19.99 or less.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. You need to let me know what that is, which one you would like. But yes, $19.99 or less on each of them.
All right, and we need to know your Discord, or excuse me, your Fantasy Grounds name, your username, not your email, just your username, and we can gift it to you.
Okay, perfect. So,
or I'll just put mine in there every time, and we'll be good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and roll for that. So let's see, who's our next contestant here? Daryl B, come on down. So 23 is the result. Daryl B. Daryl B. DARRELB.
I know a few Daryl B's that could be.
I do not have a Daryl B anymore in our stream and Twitch. I don't see one in Discord.
Okay. So was there one from another platform maybe?
Yeah, he's in our Discord.
Oh, he is in our Discord. Okay, great.
Great.
Sorry, Daryl. I almost undermine you. You're a winner.
All right. So that's for the Fantasy Grounds content.
Yep.
Next, Yggbjorn. Hey, what do you know? Yggbjorn. Number 8 was the result. Yggbjorn, you're a winner.
All right, so let's go ahead and draw another one, please.
Okay.
Because, and I'll go ahead and announce this, but the lion's share of our work on our side was done by Flo and by Yggbjorn for teaching all the classes that we had this time around. So both of them are already getting a gift certificate from PEG. So instead of them getting that Fantasy Grounds piece, let's go ahead and have another person who was drawn for those.
Great.
Okay,
that's cool because I was going to tell you to take my name off the list anyways because I got a lot of Savage Worlds content.
Okay, cool. Right on. So the next one is Yggbjorn again. I think you were meant to have it.
Let me just get like 5 bennies the next time I start a Savage session.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good trade.
And I think the Fantasy Grounds platform just really likes you.
Well, look,
That's right.
Ivermac gets one now. See, it's rigged for staff now. See, now it's getting crazy. The next one was Ivermac. Okay, I'll roll again. Okay, Panthera Res or Panther A's. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Panther, if you're out there, Panther A's.
Okay, Panther is a Twitch viewer. Let me go ahead and identify him in Twitch chat.
Okay. And our next result, Aldrich Plup. Aldrich Plup, are you out there? You are the next winner.
Not on Discord.
Okay.
You see that one on Twitch?
No, ALD I do not see on Twitch. Aldrich is left.
Okay. I will roll again. Rolled him again. That's funny. Okay, Gunnar Greybeard. Well, he's another one of those heavy hitters for Savage Worlds. So Gunnar,
Yep.
You are a winner. Number 22 was the result.
Let's see, where did we pull Gunnar from? Gunnar, I think, was at Twitch, is no longer here.
Yeah, but he's part of the...
He has an account here on the Discord as well.
Yeah, he's...
Right, but we have to be present to win.
Got it. Got it.
Yep, got to be present to win.
All right, then. Next is Tom Twans. Tom Twans, TAWN.
Okay, yeah, I got Tom Toms. There we go. Is in Twitch. Yep.
All right,
Very good. All right. So I just need all of those people's information provided to me. I need email addresses for the certificates for PEG, and I need Fantasy Grounds account IDs for the Fantasy Grounds certificates.
Right. So if you don't own a Fantasy Grounds account, it's free. You just go to the website, you sign up, you get a username. That's how you're going to get your prize. We'll gift it to you. However, you have to have a license of some sort if you don't already have one. So maybe you can buy a standard license, or I don't know if that covers the cost. But if you don't have Fantasy Grounds and you win this code, you're going to have at least the basic account or a subscription.
Yep.
In order to collect.
Correct.
All right. I'm not seeing Tom's winning. Or responding.
I'm messaging user TomTons right now on Twitch.
Okay.
Yep. I also added him in Twitch chat.
Okay.
All right.
So TomToms, if you're out there, you have won. So again, if you don't have a Fantasy Grounds account, that doesn't mean you have to buy anything necessarily, but if you want the content that we're gifting you, it won't do you any good unless you have at least a subscription or the basic account.
Mm-hmm.
J Boyd asking, What did I win?
You won. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Well, I do. We are at our 2-hour mark. We're 4 hours over, and we are in conversations with our winners right now. If you're on Discord, please hold tight, and we will get your information between Windrunner and myself on Twitch. Stand by if you're a winner. If you haven't heard from me yet, I'm just going through and sending messages out. And it's, I guess, for our guests from Pinnacle Entertainment Group and from our Fantasy Grounds community developers, personally want to thank you for taking your time out of your day, out of your weekend on a Sunday to come and spend time with us and talk about Savage Worlds and Fantasy Grounds. But I'd like to turn over the table to you guys to get your last bits in before we say farewell.
Thank you. Well, I want to say thank you to everybody who joined us. And because it just popped up in the Twitch chat, one of our questions was production horror stories. What was your original question? Something like
Craziest thing we've heard or been asked. Was that the one?
Yeah, what is the craziest thing you have ever had come up with or had to deal with when producing a product? So if anybody wants to stay on, I don't know if anybody can stick around, but I think I can tell that story in like less than 3 minutes. But I wanted to just say thank you before we go to the round robin and put that I do have a short little story that I had prepared. So thank you again for having us.
Thank you so much. It was nice to get to interact with all of you and answer questions from folks. Can't wait to see what new stuff comes up after this. I'm going to hop off and say goodbye at this point. Good luck to all the folks building stuff, and congratulations to all the winners. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Amy.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Kevin and Aki?
Yeah, thank you everybody joining in, having good discussions.
Yep, and sorry I was completely late, but I enjoyed what I was here for. I'm going to hang around to hear this story now. If anyone wants to ask any questions, because I wasn't here earlier, feel free to ask them. I'll hang around until no one's interested.
Okay.
I think we moved all of the questions we had for you over to Ikael. So
yeah, sorry about that.
I think you are at the right spot about your products.
So do we want to call this a wrap on the stream?
Yeah, let's go ahead and close out the stream, and then anybody wants to stick around and chat, we'll be leaving this channel open here on Discord.
All right, folks, this is Founder Leyrone. I want to thank all of you for showing up and for all of our guests for coming and supporting us, and also to all of you who have organized and made this possible. This viewing is going to be in our video on demand. It's also going to be on YouTube and more than likely Facebook. I'm going to go in and edit the links on all of those so that you guys that are joining in the future, that you'll be able to see what happened here today.